Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yep, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. Hey, is that too loud for you? Body cam for us today, man. When police unexpectedly film the killer at the crime scene. Now, how you do that? How you arrive to a crime scene and you don't put everybody out? Shut down the crime. You can't, you know what I'm saying? We gonna see.
Yeah, we don't.
We gonna see, man. Hey, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go. If you want to first support, all you gotta do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
like it with a thumbs up.
Also, let us know. Would y'all like to see, do a live reaction? You know what I'm saying? We actually do this, react to these together live. Would y'all like to see us? Would y'all like to do that? You know what I'm saying? We can actually have an open dialogue and actually talk about it amongst each other. What you doing all that for?
I ain't doing nothing. Just look at you and turn my head.
You like. Let's go. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about, man.
In a strange twist of fate, the police rushed right past their suspect on their way into a horrific murder scene. Not only that, but the suspect was also caught on camera by a TV crew outside the home moments after they had just committed an atrocious act. And despite all of this evidence, they shockingly still attempted to act as though they were innocent.
Hello? 911. Somebody got in the house and attacked me and my husband, and I'm all bloody, and I'm an old woman.
It's crazy. You know, I drink. It's crazy, man.
What?
I don't know what happened. It was a fight, a killing, a robbery. See, I'm not even a wicked person. I wouldn't do nothing crazy or savage, you know.
Crazy and savage barely even begin to describe the absolutely horrific nature of the attack that occurred on that summer night of 2014.
They beat these people in the head, and they're like 100 years old. Somebody come. I need help. Okay, they're on their way there now, okay? And I'm on the floor.
Also, shouldn't he have blood on him?
I probably wouldn't even pay it. I don't know.
And my husband's been hit in the head, and I've been beat on the head. Don't hang up, okay? Don't hang up, period. My head hurts. I'm laying in the hallway.
The only element more shocking than the identities of the victims would be the revelation of the weapon used to inflict each devastating blow. Only an incredibly deranged individual would transform such a normal, everyday item into a murder weapon. Almost an entire century earlier, in 1916, Rupert Andy Anderson was born in Kearney, Iowa. He married Harriet in 1937, then joined the Navy several years later in the heart of World War II.
Oh, that wasn't an exaggeration. He literally was born almost 100 years ago. He was born in 1916. This happened in 2014. Almost 100 years old. What the fuck? I can't.
Rupert Andy Anderson was born in Kearney, Iowa. He married Harriet in 1937, then joined the Navy several years later in the heart of World War II. The two started a family and a successful business. In 1950, Vista Kennels was established in Des Moines, Iowa, on the very property of the home they purchased in 1947. It was Andy himself who constructed the kennel, using repurposed World War II wooden ammunition boxes. Andy spent his career at Anderson Erickson Dairy as office manager until his retirement. All the while, Harriet handled the kennel business until the Andersons decided the time had come to take a step back and enjoy a peaceful retirement together. But tragically, that wouldn't be the case. In addition to the fact that the couple had no known enemies whatsoever, a motive behind the attack was nowhere to be found. The community and law enforcement alike were completely baffled. It was approximately 7:44 p.m. on July 2nd when the 911 call came in, and it was anything but routine.
Can you tell me what they looked like? In a car? What? Did they have a gun? No, I don't know. He had something hard. Piece of metal. He was armed with. Okay, what did he look like? He kept beating me on the head when my head hurt. Was he white? What? Was he white? White or black? He was black. What color was his outfit? I think it was black or white. I think it was white. I can't remember because he was kept hitting me on the head.
From what the dispatcher was able to gather, Harriet and her husband's home had been invaded, and they'd both been viciously attacked. It would later be determined that Harriet had answered a knock at the door, and immediately, the encounter took a violent turn. A man barged into the Anderson home. He struck Harriet on the head repeatedly with what was believed to be a metal bar. A lens from Harriet's glasses lay in the entryway, and a hearing aid battery was also reported to have been found nearby. It seems that after 94-year-old Harriet had been knocked to the ground, the perpetrator made his way to 97-year-old Andy, where he sat defenseless in his recliner. Andy was brutally beaten over the head, just as Harriet had been. The blood from both victims told a story of unthinkable horror, each strike to the head having created its own pattern of splatter on the walls and carpet. Amazingly, Harriet was able to muster the strength to crawl to a nearby phone, and she had the wherewithal to place the desperate call for help. Approximately 7 minutes after Harriet managed to make the 911 call, the first members of law enforcement arrived at the scene. This particular evening was unique, as the TV show Cops happened to have a camera crew riding along with a patrol officer. In fact, we'll hear from the crew shortly, and as you'll see, they'll have some groundbreaking information to share. A dash cam from the second patrol vehicle to approach the home captured the initial activity at the scene. A young man was curiously stationed at the front door of the Anderson home in the midst of the chaos.
I wonder since y'all are getting a call that someone has invaded their home and they have been beat, what was described on the 911 call. I wonder why they just kind of.
But also, it depends on if some of this information was properly related back to them. Well, not related, but you get what I'm saying. It ain't related. It's relayed back to them.
Yeah.
Like they tell them, like, hey, the perpetrator was a black male.
Well, I'm not talking about like necessarily how they look, but the fact that he just standing in front of the door. I wonder, did he look suspicious? Did y'all look at him? Did he? He
could have just said, "I'm a nearby neighbor."
Like, blood on his clothes. Did he look kind of deranged? Like, did y'all just like kind of ignore him? It was like no, he's nobody. He's not important to what's going on. I just wondered like what was going through their head when they see him like just standing at the door. But anyway.
A young man was curiously stationed at the front door of the Anderson home. In the midst of the chaos, officers and the camera crew brushed past the stranger, bizarrely not stopping to ask for his identity despite the fact that he was standing at the front door of the home where an attack had just taken place. Entering the residence, officers happened upon the absolutely barbaric, crimson surroundings. It was clear that the assailant didn't intend for either victim to survive the ruthless attack. In Harriet's desperate 911 call, she was able to provide a brief description of the assailant.
Was he by himself? Yeah, as far as I know, he was in the house by himself. Okay, and he assaulted your husband too? A young, thin man, and he was black.
Soon after entry was made, officers recalled the description Harriet gave of the suspect, and it was quickly determined that the man who was at the front door, the same man that the officers had simply walked right past, could be a possible match to the description.
Look at him.
However, when
what if because of the whole camera crew and everything, there was a distraction for him to be able to properly identify everything? Because now we got these cameramen with us, and you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I do feel like, if that's going to be taking place, still don't forget the duties that I feel like, I don't know, like it could be a distraction, but also you still have a job to do, and I don't know. I just think that's so crazy because he's like right there. Like he's right there. Like you can reach out and touch him.
He's in front of the front door.
He's right in front of the door.
The entryway of the door.
Like.
Why is he here?
Yeah.
So I wonder when Harriet called the police, was he still at
He probably just been standing outside the entire time.
Or was he still inside the home when she called?
I feel like if so, he probably would have tried to.
You never know.
I don't know. I was
never know.
It was itching.
No, you was just saying you never know though.
Yeah.
Some motherfuckers that crazy and
probably
slow.
just standing there watching her make the call. I don't know, because I'm like, what possessed you? Like, who are you? You don't. This seems so random. Like you, and
the way Harry described it, but that's the reason why I said, could he possibly be somebody? Because how you just automatically come to their house? Do
you watch them? Do you know that they was elderly and lived?
Is it possible he's somebody in the neighborhood?
I don't know. We'll get more information.
Right past could be a possible match to the description. However, when an officer returned to the entryway, the mysterious man had vanished without so much as a trace, or so they thought. Harriet and Andy were transported to Mercy Medical Center. Sadly, Andy had succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead at the hospital. And with that, the investigation into a brutal home invasion morphed into one that centered around homicide. It was a miracle that Harriet survived to tell of the vicious attack, considering the seriousness of wounds she'd sustained. The visible injuries to her head were gut-wrenching, but what could not be seen by the naked eye was much worse. During the course of the beating she'd endured, she had suffered a fracture to her skull. As you'll see, the identification of the weapon couldn't be more shocking. Emergency medical staff managed to stabilize Harriet, and her condition was soon categorized as fair. Back at the crime scene, a potential suspect was located and apprehended nearby. He was handcuffed and placed in the front of a...
That ain't even the same dude, is it?
I can't tell.
It is 2014. We got to take that into.
I honestly can't tell.
Because the quality of the content. Grainy. Yeah. But my thing is, it's crazy. If this ain't the guy, right? Mm-hmm. Y'all gonna find a motherfucker to match the description. But the motherfucker was still there on the...
It was right there. If it is the dude, I don't know. It could be. The dude just look a tad bit taller. But it could be.
That's my thing. He looked taller.
This one.
He looks taller.
The other one looked a little shorter. But who knows? He probably didn't have on no shoes. Because, again...
No, he did have on shoes.
Did he have on shoes?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of, like... I'm just seeing him walk off. Well, you don't have to walk off.
Patrol car.
Have a seat. So what's going on?
Possibly.
Nothing. You got any warrants? No.
Did he say what he was doing? Say he was walking?
Just said he was walking. He came from the apartments. What happened over there?
Home invasion, right? 98-year-old couple. Busted him with a metal bar.
But officers are skeptical that the man before them is the perpetrator they are desperately looking for.
That's awesome.
6'2", 150.
6'2". Yeah, that's not good. I'm 6 foot, and I was taking because you can see me run right by him.
You know, that he may have continued into Altoona if that was the right track. He may have been ahead of this guy.
You know what's funny is I initially came over here and we were thinking he wouldn't have made it this far already.
Soon, a detective arrives and speaks with the individual who's been detained. He quickly confirms that this man does not match the description of the suspect. The young man's handcuffs are removed shortly thereafter, and he's given a ride to a local restaurant.
That's what we said. We said he looked a lot taller.
He looks taller. I'm just looking at him.
Because the other guy, he looks like...
He's thin, but
if he said he's 6'2", the guy said I ran right past him. So the guy could be probably about, 5'8", 5'9".
5'9", maybe.
Yeah.
With that, law enforcement members are back at square one. Yeah. However, they won't remain in this position for long. The cops' camera crew had also made it to the site where the potential suspect had been detained. In addition to having captured the critically injured victims and the crime scene, they first caught something else that would prove crucial to the investigation. Mm-hmm. They had footage that clearly showed an image of the man standing at the front door of the Anderson home following the attack. The detective and officers took photos of paused video footage using their cell phones, and with the help of locals within a small radius of the victim's home, the man was identified, and officers were quickly directed to a nearby townhome. It was the residence of Nyanyul Padit, her boyfriend Janab Reith, and their 6 children. It just so happened that Nyanyul's eldest child matched the suspect's description. But upon arrival of law enforcement, The young man was found tucked in his bed.
That's why I said he looks like a child. This guy right here, he looks like he's a minor.
Yeah, he's smaller. I don't know.
He looks younger than 18, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He doesn't look older than 18. 2014, yeah, he doesn't look older than 18. He looks like he probably 16, 17. I give him. Possibly. But he doesn't look older than 18.
Yeah, he does look young.
Even the way he's dressed.
Yeah.
That's someone under 18.
What? Yeah, I have so many questions.
The man was identified, and officers were quickly directed to a nearby townhome. It was the residence of Nyanyul Padit, her boyfriend Janab Reith, and their 6 children. It just so happened that Nyanyul's eldest child matched the suspect's description.
Oh.
But upon arrival of law enforcement, the young man was found tucked in his bed, seemingly asleep. He was quite confused as to why officers were in his bedroom. Even so, the young man, identified as Noor McCoy, was detained.
Oh, shit, he was 19.
He looked young.
I'm going to say this. Looking at this picture right here, he looks 19.
Right here, he looks like too, but when they showed
over there, he looks 16, 17. But that's just a couple years gap in between.
It's just a couple, yeah.
But right here, he does look his age.
But
what's the fuck going on with his hair, bro?
And he looks confused as to why they were there. Yeah, I have questions, bro.
Also, how far are you from the elderly couple?
I would like to know that too.
Because they did have a sign that said kennel office. So were they still trying to do the dog thing? Because even though I know they're retired, they probably still keep some dogs just to keep them occupied. Because some elderly people like to stay occupied. They don't want to just
active and not just be sitting. Yeah.
So you don't just knock on their door randomly and attack them. You had to know somewhat that there's an elderly couple.
And did you knock on well, she did say that when she, I guess.
As soon as she opened the door, he started attacking, barged his way in and started attacking her. And then he immediately went to the older man. Yeah. So I'm like, you had to know something. You had to canvass the spot a little bit, you know?
Placed in handcuffs and transported to the Des Moines police station for questioning. His mother and her boyfriend followed. Shortly thereafter, detectives began interviews, along with the arduous task of piecing everything together. The following never-before-seen footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney, a licensed clinical psychologist, a former licensed professional counselor, and a licensed professional counselor. They started with the cops' crew, 2 witnesses who were among the earliest to arrive at the grisly scene, and both members of the crew had taken note of Noor upon arrival.
Jesse Reisdorf.
For the record, you work for Couch Production?
Yes.
You were the cameraman tonight?
Yes, we got out of the vehicle. While we were walking up to the house, there was a younger black male standing in front of the door. Yeah, medical showed up. We went outside. Black male was gone.
Despite the fact that Jesse was focused on capturing video footage of the scene, he was able to give a detailed description of the suspect.
Could you describe him to me? Height, stature, age?
He's probably about 5'8", I'd say probably about 140, 150 pounds.
Okay.
Under 20. And he had on a gray hooded sweatshirt and what I thought were black or gray basketball shorts with a black stripe. And yeah, that was about it. He had his hood up.
The crew also made their way.
You said what?
I said for everything for it to be so chaotic, he got a good description and a good look at him.
And he probably also hold on. He probably reviewed footage as well. So you got
true.
It's the cameraman.
True. I forgot this is the cameraman holding the camera. So
way to the townhome where Noor was detained.
And have you had an opportunity to see the possible suspect that we brought in here tonight? Did you make any observations about if he was the same person you saw at the scene? Could you tell that or not?
Not positively.
Okay.
But it seemed to me that it was, but not positively.
Okay.
At the conclusion of Jesse's brief interview, he reiterated that the man he observed at the townhome was very likely the same man he'd witnessed at the Anderson residence. Jesse's counterpart and audio specialist sat for a brief interview that night as well. And as you'll see, he was more certain of what he'd seen earlier that night.
your name again, sir?
Carlos Dominich.
Can you just run through what you observed or what you remember hearing about it?
As we were walking in, there was the gentleman was standing by the door. Gentleman said something about they're cleaning. We thought it was he.
You said he was there cleaning, something about that?
Something to that effect. I also remember him having the puffy cheeks.
Puffy cheeks.
Then Carlos sums everything up based on his account.
I understood they got him, and it is the guy. I mean, from what I saw, it is the guy. You guys got the right guy.
Did you see him bring that in here?
Yes.
Okay.
No mistaking it. The footage that the crew had captured would prove...
Did he say he was in there cleaning?
That's what he said. He made a comment that he was in cleaning what?
...to be invaluable to the investigation.
Cleaning.
Detectives decide to speak next with Nora's mother and her boyfriend. While all of the interviews are taking place, Nor has been left on his own in an interrogation room. But that doesn't mean he hasn't already started talking. In about 3 seconds, you'll see some of his bizarre one-sided monologue.
This world is crazy, man. This world is truly crazy. The truth will prevail. The truth will reveal itself, so this is crazy. Like, no, literally, this is crazy. I'll never do nothing evil. That's not me. I know myself, man. I understand myself, like, pretty well. I know what I would do and wouldn't do.
Sometimes when people have these sorts of rambling conversations with themselves, it could be an indication of psychosis. However, we can't make any conclusions about Nora's mental health just yet. There are other factors that must be present in order to consider that a person may be struggling with psychosis. For instance, when a person is actively psychotic, there are often impairments in their ability to communicate with others, such as answering questions in an interrogation setting. They may speak fluently, but their ability to understand and process information and remain on topic are typically impaired when there is active psychosis, among other observable issues and deficits. It could also be that Nor is prepping his alibi and explanations. This sort of dress rehearsal is common among criminal suspects. These statements can likely be shown in court, even if he hasn't been Mirandized. While the suspect is in custody, no one has asked him questions to this point. Strange, to say the least. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. The detectives start the interviews with Nora's parents by gathering some background information.
Is this your son brought into this too?
That's my stepson.
Your stepson, okay. It's her son, okay. What's his name?
Nor, N-G-O-R.
His birthday?
Yes, it's May 25th, 95.
They run through a brief description of the day, and both Nyaniel and Janub explain that they went to work at their shared place of employment, the Altoona Inn. They worked their 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. shift, ran a couple errands, then returned home. Soon after, they headed to a local grocery store called Hy-Vee.
Was Nor with you?
Yeah.
After Hy-Vee, where'd you go?
I came back home.
Back home with the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
What time was that? Could you tell me?
It was 3 when I come back, 3:45.
Okay.
Then Nyaniel tells of something unusual that occurred that evening.
When I came from work,
yes,
I had some beer.
Some beer?
Yeah, and some liquor.
Yeah.
They call Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did put them in a table because I needed food in the fridge. My son came behind me. I didn't see him. He take the cup and take the Martin, Captain Morgan. Yeah.
The rum. Yeah.
He go to the bathroom. He locked the door. So after I put the food in the fridge, I tried to look in the table. I see the drink. The drink went back down.
The liquid you can see that somebody had.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did have my daughter. Who did this?
The 13-year-old?
Yeah, the 13 years old. He told me it's your son.
Nor?
Nor.
Yeah.
I told her where she at. It's in the bathroom. I say, Nor, what are you doing in the bathroom? No, Mom, I'm using bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I say, no, you're not. Open the bathroom. No, I'm using it. I say, okay. I sit down by the door to make sure what he's doing in the bathroom.
Okay.
So when he came out, I see him in a cup.
holding the cup. So I told him, so you drink a liquor. He told me, you never read anyway. You need to read first. This one is not a liquor. I say, yes, it's a liquor.
I know I drink, but this is crazy, man.
Why you drinking? So over there, he told me, okay, Mom, stop. I'm going out to walk. That's the way he told me. So he go out. I say, where? You gonna go to walk? I say, I'm going to walk around here, and I'll be right back. I say, okay.
According to both Nyaniel and Janub, Noor hadn't been gone for more than what seemed like a matter of minutes before law enforcement paid them a visit.
So do see.
Also show up and knock the door.
Okay.
I was surprised.
And show me the picture. The police asked me, this is all your kids in here, or you have another child? I say, no. The picture you just showed me is my son.
Yeah.
Where your son at? I say, he went out. He told me go to walk around.
Oh, yeah. I recognize this kid. That's my kid.
You recognize Noor?
Yeah, I recognize him as a picture. And that was surprising. I said, then what's going on? I said, no, we want to talk to him first.
You didn't know he came back?
No, we don't know he came back. We thought he still in a walk.
I don't even know what happened.
That was fast.
That's the thing.
Okay. After I run up there, I see him door is open.
You went up to his coat?
Yeah, I did go there. I see him, he's sleeping. He's sleeping. So I run out again. I didn't put the clothes on. I told the police, I got him up there. He's sleeping. He tried to wake him up. He don't know what he's saying.
When I don't even know I'm asleep or I'm alive.
It's then that Nyaniel makes a shocking discovery.
I grabbed the sweater. I see the blood in here. I say, Mom, what is this?
The gray hoodie that he's wearing?
Gray sweater.
Okay.
I see the blood. I say, what is this, Mom? I say, what? Nothing, Mom. I say, no. Tell the police the truth. Are you involved for fighting? He don't want to look like he's tired. Until the police give him the time to find the shirt, find the where he wearing, you know.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what happened outside.
Right. Okay.
That's why I'm here, because I need to know.
Yeah, we're trying to know too, so that's why we're
what's
talking.
going on exactly.
Yeah.
You know what's so crazy? The family said they saw blood on the sweater. Why the police didn't see that?
I guess it's just a chaotic moment, the chaos. They just trying to rush in to see. It's a lot of people, for, you know, because now y'all got
he also had his hands in his pocket.
Yeah, you know, you're not really, you just like, not thinking I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Here's what happened. I shouldn't have drank that, man. I shouldn't have drank the vodka. I wouldn't know what happened.
It appears that Noor remembers having a drink, although it's a different type of alcohol than what his mom described. The fact that he remembers this detail may make it more difficult for detectives to believe that he doesn't remember anything else that happened. In addition, Noor's mother makes a strange observation.
Is she on medication?
So when I pick up the blanket, it's really wet.
Okay. What, like sweat or what, like
sweater?
Like,
it's
okay,
sweater,
like he was sweating.
Water.
Or that he took a shower or something.
Yeah.
Took a shower?
Did he take a shower?
No, I don't have no idea.
Unfortunately, Noor's mother will soon find that what happened is much worse than she could have ever imagined.
I'm not even a wicked person. I wouldn't do nothing crazy or savage. No, that's not me.
As detectives attempt to make sense of the baffling situation, they inquire about Noor's finances. Perhaps this is where the motive lies. Maybe the whole thing was a burglary gone horribly wrong.
If he doesn't have a job and when you don't give him an allowance, what does he do for money? Does he ever have money?
We've never seen money from him.
Okay.
If he has money, he might be kept him somewhere.
You provide his clothes, everything.
Yeah, we buy him the shoes, buy him the clothes. We never give him the cash.
Obviously, Noor was living off of his parents, and apparently he felt that high school wasn't for him. We don't know yet if Noor has severe mental illness, but if he does, it wouldn't be surprising that he'd want to drop out of school. Teenagers with severe mental health issues often struggle to develop peer relationships and are often isolated from others in school. They may also struggle academically, as their symptoms can make it difficult for them to sustain attention and complete assignments.
We tried to talk, and then he told me I'm 18 years old, and if I want to drop high school, you can't force me. I say, okay, find a job. He did find a job in McDonald's. He worked like 2 weeks. He quit the job again.
That's frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's typically difficult for individuals with severe mental illness to maintain employment. For teens with serious behavioral problems, they can also face difficulties with maintaining employment. They often struggle to get along with coworkers and supervisors, depending on the nature of their symptoms. For instance, with psychosis, they may be suspicious of others or become angry easily if they're reprimanded or given orders, making conflict with coworkers, supervisors, and the general public a pretty common occurrence. For teens with behavioral problems, they often bump heads with authority figures because they don't like being ordered around or told what to do. In addition to school, work wasn't for Noor either.
He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have a way to make money, right? You provide what he needs, but he has, no money,
The detective changes the focus of the conversation to an important subject, and as you'll see, the answer only makes things look worse for Noor.
Off of 46th Street, right by where you live, there's a private kennel, place where people take their dogs or whatever when they're on vacation or whatever to take care of them. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where all of these cars were tonight.
They have a dog daycare.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And any reason Noor would go over there?
I don't see any reason Noor can go there because we don't have a dog.
Right.
We don't have a cat neither.
Right.
Yeah.
Things aren't looking good for Noor, seeing as his parents have positively identified him in the photos provided by police. And further, at a place he has no business being. But there are still so many important questions. Among them, those concerning the makeshift weapon used to beat Andy and Harriet. And, of course, the true motive behind the brutal attack.
Are there any kind of weapons in your house? Do you have any guns for home protection? Or
No, we're not.
does Noor have any even knives to collect anything or anything like that?
I never seen that.
Okay. Noor doesn't have any weapons that you know of or anything?
Noor?
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Does he ever carry any sticks or clubs?
I never see it. Maybe he have it and hiding.
Okay.
Were you surprised to see blood, or what looks like blood, on his clothes?
He say it's not a blood, but I see it like it's a blood.
When you see blood on Noor's clothes, does that surprise you?
Yes, because I don't know what to say. I went a lot through bad stuff when I was in Africa.
Sure.
And I don't like to see the blood.
I understand.
See, the thing is, that's crazy about someone. I don't know what happened. If it was a fight, a killing, a robbery, I don't know what happened.
It seems that Noor's parents have been forthcoming, and it appears that they are as confused about the situation as law enforcement is. As they conclude Nyanyo's interview, she has a question for them.
What exactly going on?
Well, maybe talk to you about it after we speak to Noor. Okay.
He on here now?
Yeah, he's here.
He's here?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to talk to him?
We're going to talk to him.
Come back to me again?
We can talk to you maybe a little bit after we talk to Noor. Yeah.
It's been approximately 2 hours since his arrest. One of the detectives enters Noor's room.
Hey, let me take the handcuffs off you. Thank you. Yeah. Just sit tight. Do you need a drink of water or anything? You doing okay?
I would like some water, please.
Okay. We'll work on that in a minute, okay? All right. Thank you. Yeah. That's got to be a little more comfortable. Just get those things off. Huh? You all right? You okay?
Yeah, just out of thinking.
Out of thinking? Okay. All right, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. All right. I'll get you a glass of water here in a couple minutes, okay?
All right.
And then appreciate to chat with you, okay?
Appreciate it.
Given all the nonsense rambling that we've heard from Noor, it's surprising to see that he speaks clearly and politely. Maybe Noor knows he's being recorded and is simply putting on a show for the camera. Or it's possible that the total silence of the interrogation room makes him nervous or uncomfortable. So he's filling the space by talking non-stop to himself. Taking off handcuffs and getting the suspect water is the first step in creating a sense of reliance on officers for the basic necessities. It also starts to establish the rapport-building phase of the interrogation. Noor continues to speculate as to why he's seated in this room, as if he doesn't already know.
I don't know. Okay, I really don't know for the murder, but I'm assuming that's what it's for because that's what interrogations are usually for.
Detectives are ready to speak with Noor, given all the background they've gathered from his parents and the cops' crew. Little do they know, they're about to engage in an interview with an individual like no other they've encountered before. One who's been speaking to himself nearly non-stop since he took a seat in his interrogation room.
This is the craziest experience I've had. No, that's not the crazy experience I've had in my life. One of the craziest was when growing up in Omaha, growing up in North Omaha, and back when I seen 2 people get shot down. That was one of the craziest experiences. Just seeing 2 people getting killed with my eyes. That's the crazy experience. But it's life, man. Like I always tell myself, it's life. You gotta move on. Everything's gonna be alright, man. You don't need to do nothing, so what is there to worry about? Everything's gonna be alright. But I can understand why I'm angry. I mean, it's bullcrap. It's the waste. I'm sitting here for I don't even know what's going on. That's the crazy part.
Finally, both detectives enter.
Hi, Nora.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
All right. My name's Lorna Garcia. All right. Lorna.
Lorna?
Yep. Kind of different.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think you've met Detective Tim Peake, right?
Tim Peake?
Yep.
We met briefly.
And you're how old?
I'm 18.
What's your birthday?
May the 25th, 1996.
It should be noted that Noor claims to have been born in 1996, contrary to his stepfather's previous statement.
His birthday.
So he already lying.
And what makes you think 18 gonna be any better? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh,
still grown.
Yeah, you still considered an adult.
May 25th.
Either way, however, Noor is of legal age. In the eyes of the justice system, he is considered an adult. Regardless of the discrepancy, detectives continue to gather basic information and attempt to build some rapport.
Do you work or anything, or go to school or anything?
I take GED classes.
Sure. All right.
Where do you take those at?
It's online.
Cool.
Asking non-threatening questions allows the detectives to see how the suspect engages with them, how they answer questions, and what their body language is like. They can then compare this baseline behavior with how the suspect acts once questions about the crime begin. They will be looking for deviations in behavior, such as if the suspect all of a sudden starts using multiple adapter behaviors, which indicate the suspect is stressed by a particular question. Although some dismiss nonverbal analysis as pseudoscience, and whether or not the viewer agrees with it, it is used by the FBI, CIA, and police during interrogations, which is why we include it. When the CIA is interrogating an individual, they look for clusters of 3 or more indicators that occur in either quick succession or all at once. These indicators can be signs of discomfort or uncertainty in what the individual is stating, rather than indicators of deception. It's extremely important to note that you cannot detect deception through nonverbal analysis alone. As well, nonverbal analysis is not admissible in court, nor is it meant to be admissible in court, and it is instead an investigative tactic police use to question suspects.
Just a procedure, we do have to read you these rights, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The detective reads Nora's rights, and he acknowledges that he understands each one. At this point, the interview becomes a custodial interrogation, and the detectives begin attempting to untangle the gruesome web to uncover why the Andersons were brutally attacked just hours earlier.
Well, obviously we're here for a reason, Nor. some things have happened tonight, and there's some questions we want to ask you because there's a lot of questions like why. Those are the things that you can maybe fill in for us. Okay. We've talked to, obviously your parents are here. We've talked to them and such, and some other people at this point. So we kind of have an idea of really what happened. Okay. I'm sure there's some things rolling through your head right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's been kind of an atypical night. It sounds obviously, and
right.
Can you kind of tell me what your day was like? Can you run through your day for me?
Well, my day was a typical day.
Detectives want Noor to think they know more than they actually do. Noor may be more likely to give out additional information if he thinks the police already know everything. Noor explains that he went to practice backflips at a nearby park.
I drank a little bit of liquor with myself, basically, because I was going to tell my mom, but my mom she didn't drink with me, but it was little, that's why I was thinking of that. But it wasn't enough to intoxicate me.
Stating that it wasn't enough to intoxicate him would negate any sort of possible diminished capacity defense to the crime. However, voluntary alcohol intoxication isn't enough to raise the defense regardless.
It was like around like 4, but it was before I went to go do the flips. What I do is I do backflips.
Okay.
Backflips, front flips. What my goal was just trying to perfect like various different type of flips.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was gonna record myself, upload it online, trying to gain as much views and followers as I can.
It seems like Noor is trying to sound innocent and casual by going into a little too much detail about his backflips. This could be his attempt to distract from the focus of the interrogation. It could also be his attempt to make it clear to the detectives that most of his time is spent focused on practicing his backflips, implying that he's not into anything else, nor into any sort of trouble.
So when I drank a little bit, I went to go flip.
What'd you drink? What kind of liquor?
Captain Morgan.
Morgan.
Then when I came back, I went to sleep. And I didn't wake up, but I got woke up. And then all these cops and everything, I was like, what's going on? And then my mind started running out. Everything, I'm like, whoa. So it didn't really give me a chance to, not when you wake up, but you get woke up, it's a bunch of police officers waking you up. Your mind would be running like, what's going on? So that's really it. That's my general day.
Okay.
Noor's voice changes pitch when he says it. This could potentially be a sign of his anxiety coming out. When a person is excited, nervous, or anxious, they may raise the pitch of their voice. This is a natural response to these emotions, and it can be difficult to control. Noor states that he woke up that morning around 11 and had gone to sleep at 2 a.m.
Okay, you go to bed late usually?
Yeah, I watch videos on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm a conspiracy theorist.
You're a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I like to read about conspiracy theories and study them.
Okay. What'd you do from 11 on?
I stay home like usual.
Okay, usually home every day? Okay, that must get pretty boring.
Well, I don't really do anything because how I see it is, because my goal is GD.
Okay.
How I see it is if you really want something, you're going to put everything aside and get it.
Okay.
If you really want it, you'll get it. If you don't, you'll come up with excuses. So
there's definitely a discrepancy between Noor's story and what his parents said. Right. They never mentioned him trying to get his GED, but he has talked about it in depth during his interview. There's no apparent reason for his mom or stepdad to withhold information that puts their son in a positive light, but there would be motivation for Noor to lie about or embellish his life goals. It's possible that he's trying to make himself look better to police by talking about how he's working hard to get his GED. We've established that Noor's days consist of studying and practicing his flips, and occasionally underage drinking.
Did you sneak it, or did your mom know about it?
My mom knew about it.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, how many years old?
Well, I not old enough to drink.
18? Well, I thought it was 21 you have to buy, 18 you could drink.
No.
No?
No.
No.
Noor may have mentioned this detail about how he was drinking in order to make himself...
Also, bro, you was hiding it from your mom, so you knew that you wasn't
supposed to be drinking.
Yeah.
And
Talking about, I thought it was...
You can't drink it, so what, how is that... Child.
It don't even make sense.
Appear like he's being honest with the detective. Sometimes suspects will admit to a less serious wrongdoing in order to demonstrate that this is the worst possible action they're capable of, almost like implying that they would never be capable of doing anything worse.
You decided to go out and do flips, right? What time was that?
I would say I would say the early 5s.
Noor explains that he practiced his flips at a park located close to his home.
What part of the park were you at?
Basketball court.
Okay. How long were you out there?
I would say about 30 minutes.
This is interesting because Noor's parents assumed he was only gone for about 5 minutes. Luckily, Noor elaborates further for us.
See, the thing is, I'm not really accurate about... Okay, everything else I'm accurate about, but the time frame, not really, because as I went to sleep, I got woke up by all these police officers and my mind started running. Plus, I suffer short-term memory and all this. Like,
What do you mean, suffer short-term memory? What do you mean by that?
Well, it's not really doctor acknowledged, but it's something I noticed myself. It's more like I forget shorter stuff, but longer stuff I'll remember.
Okay.
Noor arrives at the alibi he was rehearsing earlier in the footage, short-term memory loss. He provides an unconvincing explanation about his short-term memory deficits versus his alleged ability to retain memories from his remote past. Things like encoding, rehearsal, and the importance of the information are factors that tend to make things stored in long-term memory stand the test of time. Short-term memories, on the other hand, are believed to be forgotten because the brain has a limited capacity to store so much information. Whenever we come across new information, our brains store it in short-term memory, but it's only there for a brief period of time. If we don't use this information in some way or rehearse it, chances are it will be forgotten. Sometimes short-term memories can be transferred to the more reliable long-term memory system if it has some type of emotional meaning. Still, Noor's claim that his short-term memory is poor could be a red flag for deception, as Noor may be setting the stage to fall back on "I don't remember" type of excuses from here on out. He may think that he can't be punished or blamed for something he doesn't remember doing.
And then, what did you do when you got home? Did you just talk to anybody?
No, not really.
And then, what did you do when you got home?
Took out my shoes and went straight to sleep.
Did you shower or anything?
That's why
I was playing that.
That's why I thought. I was like, they trying to see if he like got rid of any evidence because the mom said he was like sweaty, wet. It was wet.
Yeah.
The sheets was wet, and so they trying to see.
It was sweat because she don't know if he had took a shower or not.
Oh, she said she didn't believe he took a shower,
but she don't think he does. But she said she don't know.
She said she didn't presume because they didn't even know he had came back in the house.
This statement seems to confirm that what Noor's mother witnessed on him was, in fact, sweat. Interestingly so, Detective Peake, who's seated a bit out of view, also noted Noor's profuse sweating when he arrived at the residence and observed Noor in his bedroom, according to a narrative he would compose later.
Do you usually sleep that time of night? Pretty early.
No, I don't usually sleep at that time. I went to sleep that time because of all those flips. All those flips and cartwheels and stuff. So that's what got me exhausted.
There appears to be an inconsistency in Noor's story, as he has claimed that he often practices his flips, yet he rarely goes to sleep this early. Inconsistent statements can be a possible sign of deception. When someone is telling lies, it can be difficult for them to keep track of everything they've said, especially when they're having to make up additional lies on the spot to support their original story. Noor would like detectives to believe his claims, but considering what they already know, it's likely that his exhaustion wasn't due to simple flip practice, but rather something much more violent.
Did you sleep in the clothes you're wearing, or did you put pajamas on, or what'd you do?
Noor hesitates a bit before he answers. Anytime he's asked to provide details that could identify him as the person who committed the crime, he does a lot of umming and thinking. Noor likely knows that giving details right now is not in his favor. His short-term memory problem is a good excuse to fall back on, though. Or so he believes.
What I did was I took off my shirt, my pants, and just slept in my boxers or underwear.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's what I did.
Noor confirms that he'd been wearing a red T-shirt and a pair of basketball-style shorts. However, unsurprisingly, he denies wearing a gray sweatshirt. This is significant because the suspect caught on camera while stationed at the entrance of the Anderson home was clearly wearing a gray sweatshirt.
No, I didn't wear a hoodie. I remember that.
Okay.
I didn't wear a hoodie.
For the first time so far, the detective directly confronts Noor on this particular issue.
What would you say if we had a picture of you in a hoodie?
If it's in my apartment complex, I wouldn't doubt it.
While it may appear that the detectives are just gathering information, there's a strategic method to their madness. The bait question that was just asked of Noor implies that they may have evidence that is contrary to what Noor has told them. When someone is telling the truth, they're more likely to reject a bait question and give a firm denial as they know the facts are on their side. However, someone who's being deceptive may answer vaguely, as Noor did. Detectives begin to steer the conversation toward the Anderson home.
On your walk, you might have noticed there's a kennel or a place people drop off their pets.
A kennel.
I hear the dogs barking.
Yeah.
I always hear that. It's like kind of sits back a little way.
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about.
It's like a really...
Across the street, on the other side of the street from where your complex sits.
Okay, I know what you mean. When I go when I walk to the gas station, I hear at that house a lot of dogs barking. Okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Then an important question, one that will clearly gauge if Noor is at all credible.
Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't.
You know, a pet, right? No dog?
No dog.
Okay.
Noor is very quick to answer these questions, and he continues to dig himself a deeper hole.
Have you ever talked to anybody there or know anybody that lives there?
No, I don't know anyone or talk to anyone, but I see cars sometimes go and leave and exit.
Yeah. You've never been over there or on the property at all or knocked on the door or anything?
No, man.
Okay. And then you went to bed because you were so tired from doing backflips, is that right? And then that's when you got woken up by your mom. She saw something on your hoodie. Do you remember her talking to you about that?
She saw something on my hoodie.
It was red. She thought it was blood or something.
Noor touching his neck may be an adapter behavior to reduce stress. Covering the mouth, as Noor has, is often seen as a possible indicator for deception, as the person may be trying to hide their lie. People may cover their mouth as a subconscious attempt to conceal their words or facial expressions while lying. It's important to remember that this behavior is not always a definitive sign of deceit and should be taken in context with other behaviors. In this instance, Noor is showing his anxiety by also utilizing self-soothing behaviors, such as rubbing his neck and his long pause prior to answering.
Until I grab the sweater, I see the blood in here. I say, Mom, what is this?
The gray hoodie that he's wearing?
Gray sweater.
Okay.
I see the blood. I say, what is this, Mom? I say, what? Nothing, Mom.
I don't remember that, but if you would explain to me some more, then I'll probably...
She found your sweatshirt that she had seen you wearing, and she thought it was blood on there, and she's asked, what happened.
Like real blood? Or like a lot?
It looked like it. I don't know. I don't know how much.
Blood.
Where'd that come from?
Noor gives no explanation and continues to plead ignorance, but detectives have grown tired of beating around the bush.
Right.
Okay, obviously something bad happened. That's usually when we get involved, right?
Well, yeah, I know that with common sense.
Okay, right. So something bad happened tonight, obviously.
Yeah, well, I know that for sure.
We have reason to believe that you have some knowledge about what happened tonight, okay? And with that, we want to hear what happened. And you've left out a big part of it. Something happened over there tonight, and I want you to tell me about it.
See, the thing is, what's so crazy is I never associated with that kennel.
Despite the discrepancy relating to time, where Noor and his family believe he left the home around 5 that evening, the detective lets Noor in on some information that's going to be very difficult to dispute.
We have video of you at the kennel there tonight, the house there by the kennel.
Of me?
Yes. Wearing the clothing you just exactly described to me.
I would, if you said that, I would say, can I see the video?
You got a picture.
Picture?
Off the video. I don't have the video itself. I've seen it, but it's on the video camera right now.
Detectives utilize the confrontation phase of the read technique here. Noor is confronted with evidence that places him at the scene of the crime. From this point, his vague denials will be minimized. It's common for suspects to want to see the evidence. Sometimes officers will share it, and other times they cannot or will not.
Okay, we have a picture of you. You're right there by the door. Okay? And your mom even said, yeah, that's Noor. Your stepdad said, yeah, that's Noor. Okay? They have no reason to lie about it. You know, they know you. They're honest people. They're honest people. I'm not here to be the bad guy. I'm here to listen. And I just want to understand what happened. Something went terribly wrong tonight. I don't think it was your intention to have what happened happen, but it did.
Do you think you guys could describe to me, like, what happened or anything?
That's what we want to hear from you.
Right.
Noor doesn't seem at all fazed by the direct line of questioning. So
He
the
think he's
detectives
smart.
try a different tactic.
This is your opportunity to be truthful and honest. Okay? Think about something. We don't sit down here and talk to you until we've talked to other people.
Right.
Okay, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you, and Lorna wouldn't mention a video or pictures if we didn't already have that information. And that's facts. Okay, those are facts. You know what assumptions are, right? I know what assumptions are. Assumptions are something you think maybe have happened, but you got to put that piece together to make it a fact, right? The fact is, okay, we know where you're at. We know what takes place, okay? Your opportunity here is to explain why. What happened and why. Okay, you know exactly what happened because you were there. All right, that's a fact. Hear me out. It's an odd thing that when all those people you see coming in as you're standing out there getting ready to leave the front door area. You ever seen the TV show Cops? Yeah. Guess who was there tonight? Cops. Yeah.
And it still don't make sense that you were standing, like that part still bothers me, the fact that he was still standing right there in the front door, right? That's the cops and nobody like, and did you go back to the scene? Did you leave and then go back to the scene? You get what I'm saying?
You like, especially like with the timeline you giving, right? And the time that the parents think that you left the house, right? Mm-hmm. And the Harriet calling 911 at around 7:44. I think that's when she made the call. That's a big gap, right? Mm-hmm. So how long? Right. So how long were you there? How long did it take for you to commit the crime? Mm-hmm. Right. Did you leave?
So
did
you
come
had
back,
to
or were
leave
you there the whole time, just wandering around the premises? Like, I'm confused.
Also, the parents probably really don't know because they're occupied with the other kids.
Yeah, they probably.
So time moving fast, and they like, oh, it's only probably been a few minutes, right? And actually, because he was also in the room asleep.
Yeah.
How you come home and go to sleep like that, and you just committed a murder?
Or did you leave? At 5. That around 5ish or whatever the case may be. And you probably did walk around for a little while, and
came back and snuck back out.
Either came back or you was out the entire time and you got like this idea to just do something. Like, I'm just confused as to what.
Because it still would have took you a minute to go in and have to kill them, beat them the way you did.
Well, just Harriet still.
Well, I'm saying them as far like beat them, and then kill him, and then the cops arrived on the scene after Harriet makes the phone call. We know police don't arrive on scene like that.
Yeah. I didn't get the time. I didn't write it down like when they arrived on scene.
Oh yeah.
At the exact time they arrived, but still, like, you just there. You just standing there. Have you? I don't know.
I don't think we even got that. Like, no, we ain't got none of that. It ain't on the body cam.
Oh, it's not okay. But yeah, you just like standing around. Like, what did you? Like, what was going through your head? Like, were you about to leave then? And
or were you coming back and then they showed up and then you like,
oh dang. Shit. Or were you wandering around like doing other stuff and then was about to go back in and make sure that...
Because you don't have a job.
Or were you about to go back in and clean up? Because he said something about cleaning up.
Oh, he did say something about cleaning up because he probably thought he had killed them.
I don't know, man. It's crazy.
And we still don't know what the weapon he used either.
True.
Imagine that. So you know what happened tonight. Okay? You know where you were at. You know what went on. This is your opportunity to be truthful and honest. You're dancing around it. There's a couple different types of people in life, okay? There's people that are just cold-blooded, ruthless people that will do horrible things, and they don't care.
Slash killers.
Yeah. And then there are people that simply make a mistake, that didn't mean to do things that they do. I don't believe you're that ruthless, cold-blooded person. I think you're a pretty honest guy that tries to do the right thing, but tonight something happened and made a poor decision, and things got out of hand.
Detectives utilize multiple parts of the Reed technique here, including providing alternatives to Noor, developing a theme, and minimizing his denials. But based on Noor's response, it's clear that the attempt to appeal to his character is unsuccessful.
Can't remember.
You're not going to forget.
I don't think I would.
You can't talk your way out of this, Noor. You can't. That's all there is to it. We want the truth. That's all we ask for. We don't lie to you. We never will.
I know.
So don't lie to us. So what happened when you went over there tonight, Noor?
I didn't go there. I'm trying to retrace,
Noor,
my
you're
memory.
not. You're not trying to retrace your memory. You're trying to come up with a reason to dance around this story again. That's you, buddy, right there. Why'd you go over there tonight, Noor? Okay?
That's me.
That's you.
Once again, Noor is covering his mouth while speaking. This behavior is often an indication that someone is being deceptive, as they're trying to physically cover up the lies coming out of their mouth. Even when faced with a photograph that clearly shows him stationed at the front entry to the Anderson home, Noor continues to deny that he was there.
How can I confirm or verify something happened if you guys won't even tell me what that thing is?
We don't have to tell you because you were there and you lived it, you experienced it.
But Noor doesn't budge one bit. He continues to deny involvement, and they continue to go in circles. Eventually, Detective Peake changes his tone. Although it's a common interrogation tactic, it's likely that he's genuinely losing his patience. After all, they've been seated before Noor for over an hour at this point. And despite having presented Noor with explicit photos that show him at the crime scene, he continues to deny what detectives know to be facts.
Can you seriously say that you were not there after what we've already been talking about? I mean, really? Really?
Yeah, me?
Can you honestly
you
and tell
listen to yourself.
Me or anybody else? That wasn't me. I don't know who that is.
Then the detective throws out the idea that burglary might have been Noor's motive.
Did you take anything from the jewelry box? Am I going to find jewelry at your house? Am I going to find jewelry somewhere between your house and the apartment that I'm going to have your fingerprints on? And because that's going to come back. The blood that's on your sweatshirt is going to come back. The bottom line is, overwhelmingly, you're there. You've got blood on your clothes. You're there. That's all there is to it.
They're making no ground. They haven't yet been able to advance from where they began. They changed the focus of the questioning to the mysterious murder weapon. At this time, the specific item used to inflict the devastating injuries to Harriet and Andy is still unknown to law enforcement. And as you'll see, only a warped individual would think to use such a thing to inflict harm on another.
Did you take a weapon with you when you went to the house, or did you find it in the house?
Weapon.
Yeah, whatever you hit this old couple with.
It's more of the same denials, but it won't be long before the horrible truth is exposed. After a short break, the detective returns to the interrogation room, armed with another common tactic, a last-ditch effort to, hopefully, elicit the truth from Noor. Of course, what she has to say hasn't really been confirmed just yet.
You know, I mentioned the sweatshirt that you had. It had blood on it, visible blood that your mom saw. We had it field tested. We have this ability of this lab to come out and do some testing on it. We've been able to determine that it comes back to the woman in that house we've been talking about, by kennel. The blood belongs to her.
The truth is, I really don't know. You know?
So you're going to leave that? That's going to be your story? That's what you're going to go down with? Is that story?
Hey, y'all.
That's all I remember, so I got no choice.
I don't believe you. How could you not remember?
What am I supposed
That's
to do?
the biggest lie. Come on, Nor.
If you don't believe me, what am I supposed to do?
Who would believe that? Who would believe that? I would be an idiot to believe that.
What else say you got?
Then you know how earlier he was trying to play crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Your parents would have also said, you know what I'm saying, you did with a certain thing. No, you just, you come off lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it really is. You come off very lazy. You didn't even want to finish school. You was like, well, I'm 18 now and I don't want to go to school.
Work.
They told you, your mom said you had got a job at McDonald's. You only worked there two weeks and you quit.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't doing that with yourself because you ain't even trying to get your GED because they would have said that. I'm not going to mention you working at McDonald's.
But not mention that part.
As you guys got to go based off the facts and assumptions.
Well, it's pretty good facts, isn't it? Really good facts, actually. We don't usually get this lucky. You're not going to tell me anything different. That's on you. All right, it's 0 to 12.
The detective exits the room after concluding the interview, and Noor picks his monologue back up right where he left off.
These people are crazy, man. They trying to make me seem like a cold-blooded killer. The truth will prevail, so the truth always comes out.
Well, Noor's last statement will prove correct, just not in the way he envisions.
Right.
After a few moments, a member of CSI enters the room and collects a buckle swab, fingernail clippings, and photographs. Noor is given a jumpsuit to change into.
Hey, Nor, I spoke to the powers that be, talked to the county attorney and such, okay? I'll let you know what's going on here with you. Obviously, like I said, we are here for something that happened that went pretty bad tonight. And you know exactly what happened. But anyway, you're going to be charged with murder in the first degree and attempted murder a second count. Do you have any questions for me?
Murder?
Yeah.
Oh my fucking gosh, bro.
Yeah. You killed a man tonight, so that's what happened.
That's what happened. You know what you did.
We're going to be waiting for transport to the jail, okay?
How long do you think they'll take?
Less than an hour, I guess. My best.
Probably. Why? They're hurried?
You know where I go.
Yeah.
They'll take as long as it takes, then.
Exactly.
Now that Noor is dressed in
he
a
got nowhere else
jumpsuit
to
and
go.
has been informed
He
of the
got nowhere
charges
else to
against
be.
him, he stops
You in jail for the
rambling to
rest of your life,
himself.
my boy.
He may just be tired from being in the interrogation room for hours, but it's also possible that he has finally realized that his attempts to claim that he's innocent to the detectives and to himself are futile at this point. For the record, it took about an hour for transport to arrive. As the detective mentioned, this case wasn't standard. They had a wealth of evidence to work with, and the developments that came with the passing days, weeks, and months only further incriminated Noor. A search warrant for Noor's home was obtained shortly after the conclusion of his interview. The clothing he'd been wearing the previous night, as seen on dash cam and cops' video footage, was seized, and it was clear that each item showed the presence of blood. Between Noor's mattress and box springs, the police found a serrated knife, but it wasn't recovered at the time, as it appeared clean and showed no signs of blood. In addition, law enforcement was under the impression that the weapon that had been used was a metal club or pipe. Around this time, law enforcement received the details of Andy's autopsy, and the findings were shocking. It was determined the instrument used to inflict the wounds he'd suffered was likely not a club, but rather a metal object with a sharp edge. Immediately, the detective recalled the knife that had been located in Noor's bedroom. They traveled to the home and met with Noor's parents. They provided consent, and detectives collected the knife. Then, in a strange turn of events, just moments after detectives had departed Noor's residence, another call came in from the detective who provided details about the autopsy. He had some critical information to share, but this time, it was a development concerning Noor. Apparently, he'd been reviewing dashcam footage that showed Noor leaving the crime scene. And there, tucked into Noor's waistband, was a long silver object. As it turns out, one of the detectives had made a mental note of another item while at Noor's home. It was a metal spatula, of all things. The handle was missing, and it had been placed on top of a freezer at the residence. Initially, there was no reason to believe this item was of any significance. However, armed with the new information,
then that's premeditated. Like, so you knew you was heading out the house. You knew you was headed over there, because why would you?
Because why would you?
Why the fuck am I walking outside with a spatula as a weapon?
Facts. When they said it was like this unusual object, and I'm thinking,
why would? And you carrying it like that? And that's what. I still have so many questions.
I have so many questions, because why did you?
And why them?
Why would you take a metal spatula?
Hold on, not even just. How you kill somebody with a spatula?
Them things are very.
So
if you put force in it,
like one of the ones I got, I'm like my shelf spatula, the one I used the burgers with, that mug, yes,
yeah,
because it's way more heavy duty.
Mm-hmm.
But the other ones, the other metal one we got,
no, not that one. But I'm thinking of like that one.
My shelf joint.
That one is.
It's got a little.
Anything can be used as a.
But a spatula, like I bing.
I'm hitting you, and not thinking about it hitting you flat, which you can as well. But you got to think about hitting you with the edge of it. With
the back,
and depending on what angle
with the back,
and
like
that
the
as
handle,
well. Using a whole,
You get what I'm saying?
Using the whole thing, yeah. Anything could be used as a weapon. So, and you putting force. I don't know.
But my thing is, you attack them. You're no longer inside the home. Harriet gets the phone. She calls the police. The police, we all know, it takes them a minute. They don't come, like, literally in 10 seconds. It takes a minute for the police to get there, depending on the location where you at. But it takes them to get there. And they're riding with cops. They all are getting out the car and you're still up there. What? And you're outside, like, standing at the front door.
And again, true.
That's what's bugging me. I'm like, did he leave and plan to come back? Or did they catch him coming out the house, technically? Now I'm outside. It's just so many questions I got.
And also, was your motive, I guess, to go over there and...
rob them?
And rob and take something?
Because you
already had the spatula with you when you went over
vicinity.
there. Right. So you've seen them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you knew there was going to possibly be an easy target.
They're this elderly couple. Oh.
I'll say this. I don't think he planned on killing them. I think he wanted to just beat them down and take something.
You know my thing.
But anytime you go on the scene, you harm someone, you still have to take in consideration that death is a possibility.
Yes. You continuously beating someone, just know that's on the table. So,
and that's the reason why he probably questioned, like, murder. That's probably the reason why he said that.
Please.
He probably did.
And y'all get what you're saying.
It's a possibility he didn't. Because, like, me, like, you got to think about me. I'm thinking, I killed somebody with a spatula, beating somebody with a spatula. Like, if I go downstairs and hit you with the spatula a couple times, I ain't think I'm...
A couple times? Okay. You're repeatedly, over and over, beating someone that probably barely can defend...
Also, he possibly had previous health conditions as well, because he was getting ready to turn 98. Talking about the elderly.
Yeah, he's 97. Like, trying to fight you back. Like, that's not even...
But also, he probably did have previous health conditions, but you still murder him, because whatever your actions led to his death, so it's still murder. But...
Detectives immediately returned to Nora's residence and collected the spatula. Upon closer inspection, what appeared to be smeared...
That ain't no normal spatula, though. What we was just talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
It got jagged edges.
Because he said something about an edge, like the edge being a little, rigid or whatever.
And that's the reason why they thought it was the knife. They thought the knife because the grooves of it is similar to a knife.
That one is different.
I ain't never seen no spatula like that. That does look like one of them heavy duty spatulas, though.
Like, are we okay? No, can't be.
No.
To go and take a spatula and knock on someone's door. You know who door you was knocking on.
Yeah,
knock on someone's door. And yeah. Okay.
Basically beat him to death.
No, yeah. Definitely.
Blood was visible on multiple parts of the spatula. In addition, the detective recalled having seen...
Hold the hell on. How the fuck the parents didn't even notice him come back in the house?
Like you said earlier,
I guess.
First of all, he lied, probably sneaky. Again, I don't know. They got 6 kids. I don't know if they like in their rooms attending to other kids or whatever.
Because he would have had to come in the house, place the spatula
on
back.
top of the fridge. They probably was in their room. I don't know how the house is. I don't know.
It's a townhome.
The setup is and where they rooms that are.
I'm just saying, y'all didn't hear her come back in the house. Y'all didn't see like.
They probably didn't.
The other kids.
They've been very truthful this entire time.
Yeah,
so
I'm not saying them not being truthful. I'm just like, how was he able to sneak past 2 adults and 5 other kids?
Yeah, if you want to do something, you'll do it.
You can't. Not in no townhome.
Anywhere.
What's the square footage? Is it a 2 or 3?
Cousin, we be in the same room,
bro. A townhome, bro.
Again,
with 5 other man. Somebody saw. See, somebody
I'm
saw.
telling you, my cousin. Ow!
Ooh.
The freak. What was that?
That was your back.
No, that was your nail.
No. You got a bump on your back.
I do got a bump right there. Why you put your nail?
I didn't notice until I ran over it.
Golly.
I just was going like this.
Like you poked me with a needle.
No, you got a bump on your back. My bad. I did not know. I just ran my finger over it and I said.
But no, my cousin used to be sneaky. We would be all in the room.
Hold on. Yeah, y'all used to be sneaky because y'all grown.
I said my cousin. The male one. Sneaky in the mug. Still sneaky.
He grown as hell, still
a liar. I'm telling you, you be like, we didn't see him do nothing. He be.
And then he came in the house and went and got in the bed and was asleep.
After you done viciously.
You snapped on me like I stabbed you or something.
After you viciously, that hurt.
My bad. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was rubbing. You said what?
Yeah, let's get back into it.
My bad.
2 small broken pieces of wood in the middle of the Anderson living room floor, where the crime had occurred the previous evening.
Oh, so the wood broke off. Yeah, he beat him with the back of the hand, like the handle part, which is the hardest part of the spatula.
Living room floor, where the crime had occurred the previous evening. Coincidentally, the pieces had been collected as evidence during the processing of the scene.
I was trying to see what type it was. Can you make that out? It just looked like COUMEY. I'm trying to see what type of.
Coincidentally, the pieces had been collected as evidence during the processing of the scene. The horrifying revelation came with the confirmation. The broken wood pieces had once formed a handle to the metal spatula. It had, in fact, been used to kill Andy and assault Harriet. It was as expected when testing of blood on Noor's clothing and the spatula was confirmed to match Harriet's DNA profile. Not anticipated, however, were the accounts of 2 jailhouse informants who'd spent considerable time with Noor after his arrest. It seems Noor had made such an impression on them that each came forward of his own volition. It was March of the following year, 2015, when Detective Peake agreed to meet with an inmate at the Polk County Jail at the request of the county attorney's office. The inmate informed the detective that Noor was planning on claiming a defense of insanity at his upcoming trial. There seems to be a common misconception that claiming a defense of insanity will somehow be preferable for an offender.
Right.
Noor may have naively believed that he would serve less time if he claimed he was insane when he attacked the Andersons. Maybe Noor was trying to act crazy in the interrogation room when he was having full-on conversations with himself.
But the problem with that, you was picking when to turn it on, when to turn it off.
Right.
If you insane, you can't choose when to turn it on, when to turn it off.
You want to act crazy after you done did something like that? Commit to it.
Because they coming in there, you having as soon as they leave out, now I'm acting crazy. You can't. Somebody who has those conditions can't pick and choose when it comes and when it goes.
A couple of months later, the county attorney's office reached out to Detective Garcia and asked if she'd speak with yet another inmate who'd contacted their office due to concerns about Noor. This inmate explained that he'd found some of Noor's behaviors quite alarming during the 2-month period they'd been bunkmates. The inmate explained that Noor would often laugh to himself And when the inmate would inquire as to what he was laughing about, it was in relation to his case and how he liked or enjoyed killing the elderly man. The act, however, would prove fruitless for Noor. Ironically, this type of comment may simply have made Noor appear like someone with antisocial personality disorder, since claiming to have enjoyed the murder is more so indicative of a lack of empathy and a poor moral conscience, and not necessarily insanity. But clearly Noor didn't know what he was doing, nor was he informed about what the defense of insanity means or what it entails.
You think what he said earlier was true, that he witnessed 2 individuals getting murdered? When he was a kid, he said when he was in North Omaha?
Possibly.
Because the reason why I'm saying that is because that could have possibly had an effect on him as a child, mental effect. Or it had an effect to him like, okay, I remember 2 people getting killed. I wonder how that feels to take someone's life. You get one? Because he even right here said, I enjoy killing him. Some people do. Some people who have murdered people say, I enjoy murdering that person. Like, I enjoyed the feeling and the high I got from taking someone's life.
I mean, I don't see the correlation, but...
What correlation?
Of him seeing someone get gunned down, if he did, because he's such a liar. True. If he did.
But what I'm saying is could have been embedded
in his memory. If you've seen that and it traumatized you, why? Like, I wouldn't want to put somebody through something that I don't know. Everyone's different. Yeah. I don't think.
But key thing you did say, if that really did happen, because he's such a liar.
Yeah, I can't believe anything that really comes out of his mouth, and you still you acting like you don't even remember committing, but you in jail laughing, talking about you enjoyed it. Be for real, don't play. Like, you playing these games.
And you played the game well enough for your mother for years, it seems like. For you to be, I wonder what grade level he even got to for him to be like, I'm 18, I want to drop out of school. Because obviously you want a senior. Obviously you want a junior.
Oh, because I'm like...
So what grade level were you at?
Might as well tough it out if you are a senior. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Why would you drop out?
Some people do drop out. I will say this.
I didn't say they didn't. I said you might as well tough it out. I do know some don't.
What I'm saying is some turn 18 during their senior year and be like, hey, I'm ready. Because I might... No, listen. What? They might feel like they need to go ahead and hurry up. And they'll drop out so they can go get a job and help their parents or something. And then they'll just go ahead and get their GED early. That's what I'm saying. So that has happened.
I get that that's happened, but I just want to stay focused on this situation. That's not the case for this. Yeah. Because you didn't even want to work.
Yeah, so, true. Yeah, true.
This, I get that people do that. Yeah. But, again, it has no relevance to
So this. I do wonder what grade level he even got to drop out, and your parents, even your parents being okay with, and then they okay with you dropping out of school, and literally your ass ain't doing shit because you dropped out at 18. You 19 now,
watching conspiracy videos,
and you 19 now, and they supply everything for you, and you say the only thing you do every day is fucking practice flipping. You know what they always say? An idle mind is what? An idle mind is what? Mm-hmm. You gonna finish it for me? Mm-mm. The Devil's Playground. He had an idle mind, sat around and didn't have anything to do all day, every day. What month did this happen?
July.
Oh, it's summertime. Yeah.
He was likely desperate to avoid the consequences that he saw coming. And when people are desperate, they can act carelessly and end up making matters worse for themselves. By the time the trial finally rolled around in November of 2015, Harriet had also passed away.
Damn.
Nor waived his right to a jury.
I ain't gonna hold you. I kind of saw it. I kind of saw it.
She was 94 then.
Bro.
When it happened.
Died of a heartbreak. Or a heart. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, she's 94 and then just
but
with
her
everything
and her husband
else.
had been thriving,
sometimes when stuff like that happen, like with elderly people, like something like that, like it starts like deteriorating like other things as well. Even if she was, pretty healthy.
Yeah.
And then you lost your husband. Like, it's just a lot. It's a lot of factors.
Like, I don't want to carry on living this life without him. Some people do give up on life like that. Elderly people, when I didn't live my whole life with. They've been married since what, the 30s? What is it, 37? I think he said when they got married in 1937. Your grandma was born in 1930, right?
Mm-hmm.
So damn near when your grandma was a child, they were married, thriving. You know, they lived a long life together. A lot of elderly people like this be like, I can't continue to live without my significant other, because I don't know nothing but life with them.
Yeah.
I don't know how to live life without them. That's love. That's true love. To death do us part type love.
15, Harriet had also passed away. Noor waived his right to a jury trial and instead left his fate to a Polk County judge. The prosecution proposed that Noor invaded the Anderson home with the intention of stealing from the pair, evidenced by a jewelry box that had apparently been rifled through. A psychologist and witness for the defense testified that...
And I don't understand why you even trying to rob some old people of jewelry. Like, a lot of older people like that, she's probably still wear costume jewelry. You ain't really finna get nothing.
You ain't get nothing.
They retired, bro. You ain't finna get nothing from them. 9 times out of 10, anything of value is put away for the family.
So dumb.
That Noor was suffering from schizophrenia at the time of the attack. The prosecution's witness, however, had a very different opinion. The psychiatrist explained how Noor had told him of a green man with 4 arms who would sometimes enter and control Noor's body. The occasion where he viciously attacked the Andersons happened to be one of those very times. Of course, the psychiatrist didn't support the claim, which he cited as scientifically preposterous. Nora's insanity defense didn't come close to cutting it. The judge found him guilty of first-degree murder, in addition to other counts.
Thank you.
In early January of 2016, Noor was sentenced to life in prison plus 2 years, and was also ordered to pay $150,000 in restitution.
Thank you.
However, a true motive was never established with certainty, and it remains a mystery to this day.
Yeah.
We reached out to Noor for a comment on his case, and in the hopes of solving this mystery, and he replied with a letter from prison. He wrote that he is currently on communication restrictions, which indicates that he's continuing to act irresponsibly, even while behind bars. He was able to send us a letter, though, despite his restrictions, through another inmate. This may be an indication that he enjoyed...
This motherfucking lie. I received your letter some time ago, but couldn't immediately respond because I'm currently on communication restrictions. That means until my sanction is up, I cannot 1, send letters, 2, send emails, 3, give visits, and 4, use telephone. My sanctions are almost up in April, to be exact. I will be able to send letters, emails, and do visits, video, and in person, but no telephone. April is right around the corner. I do want to participate, but you guys will have to be patient. This is the reason why I'm sending this letter through another inmate, which is he's a motherfucking lie, because they open and read every letter that's coming out of that prison. Mm-hmm. So they wouldn't know that this letter is coming from another inmate, and they wouldn't have allowed the letter to come out this, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, like you said, he a pathological liar. He's fucked up in the head, but he's not insane like he's trying to plead to be. But he's fucked up mentally. Something's wrong with him, but not wrong what he doesn't know from right. Doesn't know what he's doing and knowing what's right and wrong.
Enjoys breaking the rules and attempting to outsmart the prison guards. It's possible that he manipulated the other inmate, who could potentially get in trouble for helping Noor send this letter. Noor went on to claim, quote, that the criminal justice system falsely found me guilty and that my lawyers were ineffectively representing me. Then he used the words financially crippled to describe his situation.
Boy, I gotta read this. I want people to know my story and know that the criminal justice system falsely found me guilty and that my lawyers were ineffective representing me. I will participate, but it must be under certain conditions because I'm on appeal right now, and I don't want anything to hurt my case on appeal. You guys will really have to work with me because he's trying to control the situation because of that reason. I'm okay with doing an interview and having conversations. I will speak on every aspect of the case as much as possible. Letters, emails, telephone, it all costs money in prison.
He wants y'all to get him a little piece of change so he can.
And I'm financially crippled right now. I don't have a support system. So your mom and dad ain't supporting you at all, which I don't blame them.
They got other kids. They got mouths to feed.
I don't blame them at all. She got 5 other kids she got to worry about. You chose to be in this predicament. Therefore, I'll cooperate only if you, the creators of the show, financially assist me. I don't have the financial means to buy and print envelopes and letters, make calls, send emails, etc. In prison, everything is expensive. I want $1,000. This will allow you to correspond with you. Allow me to correspond with you guys at all times with no delay during the entire process. If the creators of the show agree, then send the money to my books. The money will make sure that we communicate whenever we need to throughout the week. It will allow me to participate with you guys. He's a convict.
As you need.
He's a convict.
Yes.
And he's the key word in convict. He's a con. He's a con artist of all this. He's tried to manipulate everyone and tries to outsmart anyone. He cannot send his letter if he's on communication restriction. The man probably a little bitch boy in a prison. He ain't, no.
That's crazy, bro.
Likely as a manipulation tactic to attempt to gain sympathy. He then demanded that we financially assist him with $1,000 to ensure his correspondence, which we declined.
Right.
Nor finished his letter stating that I should be in a place receiving treatment, not in prison, serving life.
I don't know why people think going to a mental facility when you not necessarily need to be in one is the best thing for anyone. Like, you do know.
No. Make better choices. Because you chose to. I'm so confused as to what was your reasoning. What was your reason? Because if it was to take something, you didn't take nothing for real. Nothing of like value, I'm pretty sure. You didn't get nothing for real. You wasn't gone long enough. You went home and went to sleep. I'm like, for what?
And I think he just panicked left when he went home and went to sleep. It was a panic thing. I don't think he had anything to do necessarily with him being tired.
No.
Him being exhausted from doing whatever he did. Like, it was a panic. That's why he's sweating during his sleep. Or were you fake sleeping?
Or he could have been fake sleeping.
Because you ran all the way home.
Because
you had. That's what it was. That nigga head got overheated, bro. When he went in the house.
It's July.
He July with a hoodie on. It's hot as hell in July.
He probably won't sleep.
Nah. That nigga, he don't do shit but lie.
That's all he do.
Hey, man. Y'all spam us up in the comments. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is. We are. We out.
Time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar.